Hello and welcome to Junk Monkey Live. Just a spot where resellers come to hang out and talk shop. And let's see. Come over here. On dual screens, we're going to make sure that's muted and start talking to the people in the chat. And there must be another channel with a major live going on right now. I know Baldy Pal normally has his on Thursday nights, or Wednesday nights, excuse me. There we go. Hey, Christopher, how are you? Ping, glad you guys can make it tonight. It has been a very, very busy week. Yeah. Phew. So I did a lot of listing of smalls. I had to go out and buy smalls to list. I ran out of boxes to ship golf clubs and baseball bats in. Oh, ping. Yeah, we moved it to 6:30. Sorry. But anyway, as I was saying, I ran out of the long 4x4x48 boxes that I used to ship baseball bats and golf clubs. And they finally came in. They're right there. The first batch of them. I order them 25 at a time. Got another batch coming in. So this week, I don't have to source at all because I probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 golf clubs and baseball bats to list. And it'll most likely take me most of the week to do that. I'd Flip That is here. Tina is here. And Marie is here. How is everybody tonight? I don't know about anybody else's. This has not been the worst week of reselling ever, but hadn't been all that great. Get a look. I know I post my over on Instagram. I post some of my better sales, and last couple of weeks I haven't really posted that many. Yeah, today's sales were extremely slow. I think I've only had 2 sales today. Well, yeah, 2 sales today for a grand total of $28.36. While we're checking on that, we're going to send out a offer. I mean, Posh has been slow also. Christopher, you had 6 today. That's good, man. I do have a couple of eBay layaway items, though. That's awesome, Tina. I still have not done my taxes. And I know it's getting close. I've got most of my stuff gathered up. I just need to organize it a little better. Ping, we get some of the craziest questions. I get that all the time. You know, one of the updates last year, it probably was the spring of last year. It did something to where buyers cannot put a bunch of stuff in their shopping cart and then ask for combined shipping. I've had any number of customers complain that they can't do that with my items, and I don't have combined shipping turned off or anything. Oh yeah, Tina, I do the cash method. I I just keep all my receipts. And at the end of every month, I add it all up on what I spent on for goods. I also add up all my miles and my expenses, shipping supplies and things of that nature, cleaning supplies. And I do it by the month. And then I also put down everything that I got paid and all my expenses, like final value fees, promotion fees. I keep a little log for every month, and I print it all out, put it all in a 1-gallon Ziploc bag. Ping, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Add the weight, so I do not think there's a. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I know uh, most of my items I don't even have to weigh. I know T-shirts are going to go out at the 8-ounce rate, unless it's like a 4X with heavy cotton. Then it'll go out at the 8-ounce rate. Uh, Remote controls will go out somewhere between 4 and 8. VCRs will go out anywhere from 7 to 9 pounds. And I know what size box they go. I plug all that in there, and then I do flat rate for shipping. But if somebody wants combined shipping these days, they have to pay it all up front, and then I have to go back and refund whatever I didn't use. Yeah, Tina, that's why I do the cash method. It's cash out, cash in. The difference between the two is my income, and that's what I pay taxes on. Doing line item stuff just drives me insane. I spend more time doing that than anything else. Back when I did it that way, and I'm just not going to do it that way anymore. It's too confusing, too easy to make a mistake. Yeah, for first class shipping, anything that's under 12 ounces, I just charge a flat rate of $5.50. Anything over 12 ounces, I charge $5.99, and it works out pretty good. All right, see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different streams of income. So I kind of separate them out a little bit, but I do each one of them the same way. It's cash in, cash out. Yeah, when I'm shipping, especially clothing like jeans would go out at the 2-pound rate. I charge $9.99. If they fit into a padded flat rate, it costs me $8.30. But you got to remember, eBay takes 10% of that $9.99. If you charge $8.30, they're going to take 83 cents of that. Then you come up short on the shipping, and that comes out of your pocket. So I charge $9.99. They take 99 cents or thereabouts, or $1 out, and that kind of evens it out a little bit, maybe a penny or two in my favor. Yeah, Ping, I used to use the calculated shipping. The problem with calculated shipping is they charge too much. And back when I used calculated shipping, I missed out on a lot of sales. I was constantly being contacted by people who couldn't buy because the shipping was too much. The only thing I continue to use calculated shipping on is larger items, and I send those UPS, with the exception of VHSs and combo units. I've sent so many of them coast to coast that I know that I can ship the vast majority of them out at $18.99. In most cases, I'll be making a couple of bucks, and in a few cases, I'll lose a couple of bucks. So you guys excuse me for just a minute. I will be right back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to go check on something. Yeah, what kills me is this past week I had somebody send me 40 million questions. They sent out an offer. I sent out a counter offer, and then they said, "Well, I'm going to accept it, but I want combined shipping with another thing, and how much is it going to be?" And I'm like, I have no idea until I get all of those to get those two items put together in one box, measured and weighed, and have your address, which you can't send me contact information, including your address, until after you've already agreed to the purchase. Said, but I will ship it. I'll refund you the difference. I'm like, good Lord, I never worked so hard for a $10 sale. Yeah, ping. I'm just north of you, right here in Oregon, and I ship a lot of larger items and heavier items. And hey, Matt, how are you? But yeah, calculated shipping cost me a lot of sales. But yeah, and it took me a while to switch over to flat rates. Another large item that I flat rate sending UPS is golf clubs and baseball bats. Baseball bats, I tend to lose a buck or two because they can get over 3 pounds pretty easily, but most golf clubs will ship at the 2 pound rate, and I can ship them pretty much anywhere in the country for $12.99. Occasionally, when it's way out in the boonies somewhere, they tack on a little extra charge for location, and it'll end up costing me $15 or $16 to ship it to them. But I can absorb that. Matt, my sales are slow. It's not the worst week I've had, but it's nowhere near a good week. For pirate ship, when I'm doing priority cubic or UPS, that's what I do with pirate ship. The problem with pirate ship these days is they no longer send you a receipt. There for a while they were sending you a receipt for each and every label. Then they were batching them and sending you one itemized receipt for everything you shipped that day. Now they're not sending out receipts at all. You have to go to the website and look it up and download it and then print it. And it's a pain in the butt. You charge a 50-cent handling fee? Yeah, I don't charge handling fees. Um, a lot of people they get upset if you charge a handling fee. It's not that I don't charge a handling fee. It's just I roll that into my flat rate. Like for instance, the golf club boxes, they cost me $1.88 a piece. So I kind of have to roll that all together into not only the shipping but the item itself. Hey, Mary, how are you? Yeah, yeah. For the most part, most USPS shipping rates will be the exact same on pirate ship as they will be on um, eBay. To my experience, anyway. The two things where it's better rates is the priority cubic or even standard shipping cubic or for a big item. Yeah, I do my labels one at a time. I am not one of those people I don't trust myself to print a batch of labels and be able to match those labels to the correct item. I would make a mistake and I'd send packages to the wrong people. I'd get in trouble real quick doing it that way. I come in and every morning when I do my shipping, I just pull up everything that's going out that day and one at a time, go grab it, box it, label it. Grab the next one, box it, label it. I've seen people with, Ginger Marvin, Kathy. I've seen her walking around pulling her stuff one label at a time. Apparently, she writes on the back of them. And I used to do it that way when I had my office in the house. In the morning, I would print the label, write on the label exactly what it is, including the SKU number if there was one. Then come out here and one label at a time, pull that item, box it, label it. But now that my computer and my office and my printers and all that are out here, I come out and just do it one item at a time. I didn't know I was getting a better shipping discount being top rated plus, but because I've either been a power seller or top rated plus, always have been. At Ping, I've never printed a scan sheet. I go in. If I have a lot, they will give me one of those little push baskets with the canvas bag attached to the bottom of it. I'll go out and load it up, bring it into them. They've never once asked me to do a scan sheet for them. Yeah, the cubic rate is the only rate that is better on pirate ship. I don't think eBay offers it. If they do, I've never figured out how to find it on eBay. So pretty much all my shoes that are under $50 will go priority cubic in a plastic bag, polymer. And I'll do that on pirate ship. Does anybody still use Shippo, Team Shippo, or whatever it was called? Yeah, no cubic on eBay. I forget what it was that I sent out this past. Oh, I know what it was. It was the solar power inverter converter piece of machinery. I normally I would ship that out UPS ground, and I went to pirate ship, and it turned out not priority cubic, but parcel select ground cubic, which I didn't even know existed until I shipped that box. It was a very heavy box, and it was going from here in Oregon down to central Texas somewhere, and I think it ended up costing somewhere between $15 and $16. Yeah, Marie, same here. All the hills and mountains around me are getting hammered, and down here in the valley, we might get a little dusting, and that's normally gone by midday. Yeah, I don't pass my shipping discount on to the customer. That discount pays for my shipping supplies. And by the time eBay takes their 10%, a lot of the times it don't even cover that. All right, Matt, I believe you. Like I said, I wouldn't know. I've always been either a power seller when they still had it or top rated. Yeah. I can understand that, Tina. It for bigger items, it can be very expensive for the buyer. But then again, I don't send that many out. The two biggest, the two things that I use UPS the most for are the VHS and combo units and the baseball bats. And I charge a flat rate for those because I'm pretty good at guessing what it's going to cost. Every great once in a while, I'll send something bigger out. This past week, I sent out a Australian cowboy hat. It was in its original box. So I packed a bunch of bubble wrap in and around the hat and just put the original box in a giant poly bag. Actually, it was a a yard and garden trash bag, but it's a heavy duty one. So thankfully, that one was only going to Southern California or Central California and didn't cost the buyer too much. And it didn't, I think it was 3 pounds or 4. Yeah, you can send out offers on things that do not have offers turned on. That means you can send them offers, but they can't just click on it and send you an offer. If that makes sense. You don't have to have offers turned on for you to be able to send out offers on Buy It Nows. It's just they don't have the ability to initiate the offer to you. But you have the power to initiate the offer to them. Yeah. Ping has it. But you should probably turn offers on. You don't have to accept them. And I know it can get irritating getting lowball offers. But it's one of those things, just don't let it bother you. If somebody sends you a lowball offer, just deny it. Quite honestly, you don't have to take any offers just because you turn it on. The reason I turn offers on is because a lot of buyers know how to cut the list down. They do a search for something. 50,000 items pop up. Well, over on the left, they can scroll down and click on accepts offers, and it'll shorten that list from 50,000 down to 5,000. Now add free returns, and it'll take that 5,000 down to 1,500. And that's called, in order to do all of that, you have to be top rated plus, offer free returns, and accept offers, or best offer is turned on. You don't have to accept any offer. But what it does, it gives buyers the ability to cut a massive search result down to a very small percentage, and you want your item on that short list. For larger items, I will set, for instance, when I put a Rolex up, say it's an $11,000 Rolex. If I know that my minimum that I will even consider taking is 8,000, I will set that. But if I've got a $15 item and I turn offers on, I'm not going to take the time to bother saying I don't want less than $9.99 or whatever. Yeah, the low ballers can be, you can do that on every single listing, set a minimum. But to me, for the small items, it's really not worth the added few seconds to do that. I am constantly either on my phone or in front of a computer. It doesn't take me but just a second to decline an offer. But yeah, a lot of mine are through offers too. And I price up a little. Once upon a time, I would, sort the sold comps by, or the actives actually, by cheapest first. I'd see what the cheapest ones were at, and I would price mine in that price range. Well, and then I'd turn offers on. Well, now I have no wiggle room. And I certainly am not going to get more money by somebody who pays the full asking price. Now, if I price it middle of the pack, maybe a little higher, now I've got a little wiggle room, and you get the occasional buyer. They don't want to deal with all that. If you're a top rated plus seller, you got good pictures and a good description, they don't want to negotiate. They just want to pay for their item and get it. So, if you're pricing at the bottom, that's all you'll ever get is the bottom. And if you price up a little, now I do reach for the sky on a few things. I shoot for the moon every once in a while. But if it's a run-of-the-mill item, there's lots of them listed. Middle of the pack are a little better, because there are a lot of people with average items, they're shooting for the moon. I don't know why, but they are. Is what it is. But if you price up a little, it gives you a little wiggle room for those people who do like to negotiate. Gulf Coast Pickers is here. How are you today, brother? get back over here where I can keep up with the. Ryan, how have your sales been? Lord, I'm just looking in the background of my video, and my shop looks like it's in disarray. But I promise you, that little pile right there is the same little pile that's been there for all of them, all my videos. Uh, that's a lot of watch repair supplies and stuff that I need to go through when I get a chance. And quite honestly, on the back wall over here, I've got a couple of bookshelves that need to come out and a bunch of watch repair cabinets to put in so I can sort this stuff on the floor into the cabinets. That's a good one, Mary. I'm going to put that one up. That is absolutely true. Now, we can get into a long discussion about the algorithm, but the simple fact of the matter is eBay will never tell you how their algorithm works. It's very, very difficult to get them to admit that it even exists. But the fact of the matter is, the more of the tools they give you that you use, it shows them that you want to make money. They give you those tools to make money. The more of them you use, the more of your items they will push. That's part of the algorithm. I truly believe there is an organic side to the algorithm completely outside any computer programming. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these tools put your items in front of more eyes, like free returns, offers being turned on, things of that nature. Puts your item in front of more eyes. The more eyes you put in front of, the more likely one of those set of eyes will look at the rest of your store and may buy something. There's a million and one little tricks. Who's to say which ones of them actually work, which ones absolutely do not work, but do everything you can to get your items in front of more eyes and to keep the list of items they see short as possible. 19 since Monday. That's not bad. So 19 sales in 3 days. There used to be, oh, there it is over there. They moved it. Yeah, I run sales too, Mary. I run mine a little bit different and for a little different reason. I run, okay, for instance, in January, I ran a 30% off sale, I think it was, for any item that was over a year old, listed for more than a year. I wanted to give those items every chance in the world to be gotten rid of. Somebody buy it. And then every morning I would check my list of items ending that day. If one of the items on that list had the price in red, it was on the sale. I would look at that item and I'd be like, that's a good item. It should have sold. I will end that item. I'll end that listing. I'll go pull that item. I'll look over the listing really well. And if I need to, I'll take more pictures of it, different pictures of it. I will tweak the title. The description, whatever, anything that I think might need to be changed, I'll change it and then I'll relist that item. Now, anything that I gave it every chance in the world to sell and it didn't sell, I set it to the side. And towards the end of January, I made a dump run and I took a literal truckload of stuff to the dump. Just get rid of it. Start fresh. Now, in February, I ran another sale. Anything that's over 90 days listed. I put it on I want to say a 15, but it may have been a 20% sale, and did pretty much the same thing, but a lot less of it got redonated or went to the dump. Then this month I did one. It was something got messed up with. I was going to do a 60-day sale. and a 10% off. But for some reason, it put a bunch of stuff that had only been listed a day on the list. I think I screwed something up. But I don't mind having a sale this month where everything is 15% off or most items. But again, I would look at each item that's, if I knew it was over the 30 days or 60 days that I set my sale for, I took a little bit of a look at it and I would end sell similar on those, maybe tweak a little something. Yeah, I still have not done the coupons, quite honestly, because I haven't took the time to sit down and really learn how it works and how to do it. But I will probably do that soon. Ping, are you still here? Has weather warmed up down your way? That's pretty good. 29 sales over the weekend on 20. How many of those 29 sales utilize the coupon? I want to take a look at something real quick. You know, they did a update, one of the last few updates, where when you go to your orders, you click on all orders. Instead of being chronological, it's the last 90 days, but it's from highest to lowest. So the most expensive thing you sold in the last 90 days pops up. I prefer it to be in chronological order, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to put that list back in chronological order from newest to oldest. Matt, I'm the same way. Well, with a couple of exceptions, like my remote controls, I get them for pennies. I mean, literally pennies, and they're easy. They're cheap for me to source. They're very easy to test, very easy to clean, very easy to list, very easy to store, and very easy to ship. So it ticks all the boxes. 12 from the coupon. So the rest of them had to have been organic. Those coupons brought attention to your store. And as part of it, and another part of it is eBay probably pushed your store a little bit to go along with that. It's one of those things we were talking about earlier. The more of eBay's tools that you use, the more traffic you're going to get and more sales you're going to make. Period. Custom. Huh. Let's see. What is today? Today is March the 8th. And it's going the wrong way. Yeah, the paid and shipped listings. I mean, you can do it by week, month, year, whatever, but you can't do it in chronological order from newest to oldest anymore. Hey, one of my eBay layaways just paid. Awesome. So 3 sales for the day. Guys, a little over 2 years ago, I started going to the bins. We opened our bins used to be downtown. Old rattle trap building. Place was nasty. and there were a lot of homeless people just in that area. Your car would get broke into. They would come in to the bins, and it was really a bad situation. So I just didn't go over there. But a little over 2 years ago, they moved into a new building on the outskirts of town, and it's really nice over there. But I would go in, and things like remote controls and cords, electric cords, converters, the adapters, just any kind of cords for electronics, I'd get them. They're 59 cents a pound. And I brought them home and I sorted them. And with the exception of the remote controls, the rest of that stuff just kind of stayed stored. But last month I went and started pulling some of those things. And apparently the heat control power cords for electronic skillets, roasting pans, and those things sell very well. I have sold the fire out of those things lately, and they don't cost much. I think I guarantee you I have less than $1. I've probably got about 50 cents a piece in the things. And the average sale price on them is around $10 plus shipping. Some of them a little more, a couple of them a little less. Yeah, Mary, I'm not sure about that. I recently got a message from eBay talking about new final value fees during the part of this most recent update. And there are a couple of categories out there. They don't do the same final value fee across the board. Certain things are 1%, other things are another percent. And the highest one is a lot of clothing is going to be 15 point something percent. So in order to keep from giving eBay more than 20%, I reduced all of my across the board, all of my promotions to 4%. And I really haven't seen, contrary to complaining about a slow week, I haven't seen any effect on my sales. I did that 3 weeks ago. In the previous 2 weeks, I had pretty good sales. It's just this past week, the sales haven't been so great. And I mean, they haven't been horrible. They just hadn't been great. In the last 7 days, I've made $1,139 in sales gross. Yeah, there's a lot of people who do not promote, and they seem to do well. But I know that when I switched from no promotions to promotions, that my sales did increase. And I know somebody who turned promotions off across the board, and their sales tanked. Clothing, yeah. Didn't really do a lot of clothing until the last 6 months. Before that, it would have to be something like a vintage Pendleton made in USA wool shirt for me to pick it up, or a new with tags Carhartt jacket, or something along those lines for me to pick it. Or I hate to admit it, but I do like Hawaiian shirts. But over the last 6 months or so, I got more and more into clothing, and now I have a big storage. I got 2 shelves of a big storage rack completely stuffed with nothing but clothing. And 3 weeks ago, I started Poshmark, so I've really cut back on the clothing. A lot of the mall brands and stuff that they sell, they just don't sell for much, and they don't sell very fast. I've more or less cut that kind of stuff out. I'm not going to go back to super high dollar clothing only, but clothing is I'm going to be buying less of it, and the majority of it's going to go on Poshmark. And the reason I got into buying more of it and listing more of it is because at my particular bins outlet, the more you buy, the less you pay per pound. Once you hit 20 pounds, you get the maximum discount, which brings you down to 79 cents a pound. and clothing was the fastest way to get to 20 pounds. Yeah, good shoes are rare in my area too, Tina. But it's not that it doesn't exist. It's that two things happen. All the Goodwills pull those items and send them to their e-commerce site. And if it does make it out on the floor, they overprice it. So every great once in a while, they'll slip up and they'll put something out and it'll be priced to where I can buy it. But for the most part, there is no possible way I could niche down to a shoe seller only. Yeah, I sell vintage stuff too. I love vintage. If I were to niche back down to one niche, it would be watches. That's what I know. I've been doing watches online for a lot of years. It's just hard to source enough of it to maintain a store. And you can go long periods of time without making a sale on some of that stuff. Yeah, same here with the video games. I've actually had better luck finding decent video games at the bins than I do the regular Goodwill stores. Although I did do pretty good on a batch of big box PC games late last summer, early last fall. I found one in particular I got $500 for. A lot of this stuff, you get online and you can see what other people are doing, but you rarely ever see the whole story. A lot of these shoe sellers, they live in an area or they have a situation that allows them to travel to other areas in order to buy good shoes at good prices and in a good quantity. If you don't live in an area where you have that ability, niching down is not the way to go. Not if you're going to be more than just a hobbyist at this. If you're trying to make decent money, niching down is not the way to do it if you don't have the supply chain. So I really don't have any. Well, the closest thing to long tail items I have is media. That's video games, CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray, and VHS. Yeah, Whatnot. Early on, I went over there, not as a seller, but as a buyer. And just getting my account set up was a pain in the neck. Getting help from their tech team was a pain in the neck. And then I had a seller swap out some items in a big box lot of stuff that I bought and got zero help from Whatnot. I know a lot of people swear by Whatnot. A lot of people love Whatnot, but I was one of the unlucky few that I know of who just, I don't like Whatnot. Sorry. Now, Instagram has got a thing where you can, I think it's called Shopify. Last time I talked about this, I kept calling it Spotify. That's the music app that my wife and daughter uses. But yeah, Shopify, you can build a store on Instagram through Shopify. I don't know how it works yet, but I'm thinking about doing that also. One thing's for sure, the days of being an eBay seller only, if you're full-time especially, or you really count on the money you make on eBay, you need to branch out. It's too easy for eBay to throw a wrench in your plans. You guys all know what happened to me back in December. They froze my funds twice. I know other people who've been put in eBay jail for 3 days or 14 days or whatever it is. And, what do you do? Back in my mining days, I used to tell people you can't be a one-trick pony. You can't have one and one only item to sell. It's like, selling. Unless you have the great supply chain and a great market for a great item, you can't niche down. And the same thing goes with your markets. You can't have just one market. Yeah, I'm not going to use any of the cross-listing apps or the virtual assistant apps, none of that mess. I don't trust it well enough. The cross-listing thing, the big thing that keeps me from using it is they don't automatically delist from the other platforms when something sells. Now, I know Flip, you can delist from Flip, but you still have to manually go in and do it. When they come out with an app that you can connect to your platforms that will automatically delist for you, and it is not all buggy and quirky, then I might consider it. But between now and then, not going to happen. I told you guys I just started Posh, but I really don't cross list between Posh and eBay too much. If it's a better item, I will. But if it's something over $50, I will cross list it. Well, Tina, that's exactly what I'm saying. Until they figure it out, I don't trust it. Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't want to list it from eBay, list it in eBay, and then transfer it from eBay over to the app, and then from the app to other places, and then have to go back to each one of those other places and fix what's different there. No, I want one app that connects to all of it. I put in the items pictures, I put in the item specifics, I put in the shipping information. Boom, it sends it to all the platforms for me. When it sells on platform A, it'll take it off of B through X for me, and then send me a message saying, hey, you had a sale, it went out on eBay. I just go to the app, click on it, and it'll take me over there, and I can ship it. Until they figure out how to make it that easy, I'm not doing it. Yeah, see, if I got to manually do it anyway, I'm gonna put that particular item on the best platform for that item. But I'm still going to have multiple platforms. I'm going to branch out into a couple more this year. Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm not doing any of those browser add-on things. I know a lot of people swear by them. I'm just not messing with it. It's a great idea. It really is, but it's in its infancy. I'm not going to hand my livelihood over to an infant. Listed it for $34.95. Buyer wants to pay $60 for two. So you countered for $10 more. Matt, I would have too. Hey, Brett, how are you? Glad you can make it tonight. Let's check in on. Somebody gave me a positive feedback, it looks like. Yep, it is positive. Fast transaction. As long as it's not negative. No, Brett, I ate before we started the show. So we're good to go. We're just complaining about cross-listing apps tonight. Well, that's the latest thing we're complaining about. Let's see, we're complaining about cross-listing apps, slow sales on eBay, and buyers wanting things cheaper. Let's check in on Poshmark, see if anything. Here's something that's got me confused about Poshmark. In order to become a Posh ambassador, you have to have a minimum of 5,000 community shares. I have over 11,000, no big deal. You have to have a minimum of 5,000 self shares. I have 37,000, no problem there. You have to have a minimum of 50 listings. Got over 100, good to go there. Minimum of 15 solds, got that in the bag. Let's see, you got to have a 5 average seller rating. I don't know. It says 4.5 stars, but it says I'm achieved. So, and you have to ship fast, less than 3 days. I ship in 0.8 days. But here's the thing that gets me. You have to follow and share 50 new Posh sellers. I'm at 48. I can't get off of 48. I have went to, I go through and I search items and I find the pictures that say that's got to be a beginner. No long-term seller would post a picture that bad. So I pull these guys up, and the ones that are sure enough brand new sellers, I follow them and I share their stuff. And I can't get off for it. I went to one this afternoon that was started January the 22nd. Here it is, March the 8th. So that's well under 60 days or 90 days, whatever it is. But that's a new seller. They got like 20 something items or less. So I follow them and I share their stuff and I go back and look. Guess what? I'm still stuck on 48. Well, no, Matt, that was this afternoon, and here it is, almost 7:30 at night. It was hours ago. And it's not the only one. I know for a fact that I went this morning, I had 48 when I first looked at Posh. And I know for a fact that I have followed and shared at least 12 to 15 new Posh sellers today, and they're not being counted. And all week it's been like that. Matt, how do I find those people? These last 2 sellers I need to find are irritate me. After that, all I got to do is buy one item and then send a love note about the item. I've already got the seller picked out for that one. Have to be the first seller to share a new seller's item, but it doesn't say that. How do I find those sellers? That's ridiculous. I have spent hours and hours in the app. Oh man, I'm gonna grab my phone. I'm gonna pull up my app. I do most of this stuff from the only thing I use my phone for, especially Poshmark, is just to create the listing. Don't clam up on me now, buddy. Tell me how to do this. Hey, Roman, how are you? Go to search and Filer new sellers. All right, where's my search thing on here? New sellers. Yeah, Matt. Apparently, I'm using the wrong search. Let me pull that up. Filter. Okay. Well, let me. All right, Matt, hang on just a second. Is that supposed to be filter? So just search something. Let's say Cole Haan. Search. Where is the filter? Man, I didn't even know Poshmark had filters. Feed it. Oh, this chat is going way too fast. Hey, Sal, how are you? Matt, man, I'm going to hit you up on IG or something, and you can walk me through this. That's not really going to be possible on here, I don't think. Or I'll go back and reread your comments and try to figure it out. But yeah, that one has got me, that's holding me back. I want to get those. Oh, bless you, brother. I appreciate that. Send me some screenshots. Walk me through that mess. Guys, I've been on social media for well over 20 years. But that doesn't mean I know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know how I've had the success that I've had. I know I'm new to the reseller community, more or less. But I was a big part of a different genre altogether many years ago and for many years. But I still don't know my way around a computer very much. So, yeah, that's, well, working with two screens can be a pain in the neck. Let's go ahead and share the closet thing. Oh, hey, there's a new Posh Party. See if any of my stuff qualifies. Yeah, all of it. Good. Matt, do you share to these Posh parties? Yeah. Yeah. Believe it or not, I got bullied into getting into social media. Back when MySpace came out, I got on it, curious. I think I lasted a week. And I was like, nah, this ain't for me. And then the company that I worked for doing watch and jewelry work, part of my team, they were all on Facebook. They're like, you need to be on Facebook. I'm like, nah, I don't need to be on that mess. I tried the MySpace, didn't like it. And they literally just hounded me until, all right, I'll sign up. And I don't know what happened. I found how to start a group on Facebook, and I started a little rock, gem, and mineral group. It was the first of its kind on social media, and ran that for 14 or 15 years before I shut it down. It was the oldest, and for the longest, for the first 13 years, it was the biggest. There was another group that came along, got bigger than me, but they were accepting all the bots and the hackers and the scammers, and I was weeding them out. Let's see. Yeah, Matt, I got it, brother. Thank you. I will go through that in the morning over my coffee and figure it out. Yeah, I was after I shut Facebook down, I thought I'd jump over to MySpace and see if it still existed. Lo and behold, it did. And then I tried to recover my account and then popped this window, sign in through Facebook. So Facebook actually owns MySpace. And I know they own Instagram. I don't want to think about that too hard. Brother, I do appreciate it. I really do, man. Sometimes it's the simplest little things that I need help on. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I am tired of going. I bet you I've gone through 50,000 posture accounts looking for the new ones in the past 5 or 6 days. It shouldn't have been that hard to find a couple of new ones. I do. It's a little bit, things work a little different on Instagram, and I'm willing to kind of close an eye towards one side of it. I wish that they were completely separate. They're not. I even tried to, what's the one that Elon Musk bought out? Was it Twitter? I think it was Twitter. It was Twitter. I went over there, set up an account, and I don't know how anybody likes that platform. That place sucks. Bad. There's a new eBay social thing, huh? Apparently, I have not seen that. Yeah, Twitter. But yeah, I don't know how people like Twitter. That platform just sucks. It's terrible. I mean, literally terrible. I think he's weird. I don't keep up with celebrities. I don't. Didn't Twitter started out? You had to do it in like 140 characters or less or something. It was just they called them tweets, and just little short, funny things people would say, and then it turned into what it turned into, and yeah, yuck. All right. But I will tell you this: every genuinely highly intelligent person I've ever met, they've all been weird. And I worked in the advanced technical field in the Navy, so I've met quite a few highly intelligent people. And yeah, they were all squirrely and weird. I don't know what I was doing amongst them, but apparently they thought I was one of them. Yeah, the rants of the world, I don't care. I, every great once in a while, I get caught up in that kind of stuff, what everybody's upset about. And I've yet to meet the person whose mind has been changed by something they saw on their computer screen. And all everybody does is end up getting mad. Yeah, and that's the particular reason why I shut Facebook down. It's all it turned into is everybody's mad, and I don't need that in my life. Oh, I know I'm weird. You know, it's we call ourselves weird or other people weird, but a lot of times I think a better word is unique. Sorry, you guys. I'm just playing around on the other screen with. I'll tell you, this Poshmark sharing thing is kind of addictive. Got it set up to where my Meet Your Posher avatar thing. I use that to keep track of what's been shared recently or not. So it starts at the top, and then I'll take one from the bottom, one from the top, and they both migrate to in front of my avatar. Then I'll do it again, and the avatar slowly makes its way down to the bottom of the list, and then I start over. But every night before I go to bed, I'll take all my best items and share them to the top along with my avatar. So that way, throughout the night and the morning, anybody that's looking at my closet, they see all my best stuff, and that's the stuff that gets shared the most often. And as I do the top to bottom thing, some of my best stuff stays at the top. Yeah, Mountain State, I know that. We were talking about this earlier about the all the different cross listing apps. I'm not there yet, and neither are they. Um, I don't think they've got great ideas, but I don't think those ideas have been realized to their full capacity yet, to the point that I trust them to help me handle my business. And there's a lot of apps and virtual assistants out there that will help you share your closet, but really I don't mind. Yeah, they're all buggy. Some of the platforms don't like you using them. I know from sharing my own closet that every once in a while this little thing will pop up and ask me if I'm a robot, the recaptcha or the capture, whatever the hell it's called. And I have to click on that before to finish the sharing. So I know if it's doing it to me, a live actual person sitting in here, any of those apps that use bots to do that kind of stuff, well, it's going to catch on and it's going to stop working, or it's not going to work every time. I don't trust it. One of these days, somebody's going to come up with an app or a website or both, whatever. And it'll be one place where you go download your pictures to it, download your description, fill in your shipping information, your item descriptions, and specifics. Click on an icon, and boom, it ships it out to all the platforms for you. Then when it sells, you get a notification. You ship the item, and it'll delist for you already. Yeah, Brett, It reminds me a lot of a social media platform with the sharing. And quite honestly, I think it's silly. I, but you don't have to actually interact with everybody, and they don't actually interact. It's just everybody sharing your listings, and eventually a buyer will see your listing and buy it. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not developed far enough along for me to trust turning over my livelihood to it. Hey, Angie, how are you? Yeah, we start a little later on these days. I've been starting at 6:30. I've had a few people contact me and tell me they were missing the lives because they had Wednesday night church services. So it started at 6:30, and while they can't be here for the start, a lot of them will come in later on in the show. So that was kind of the best compromise I can make, is moving it to 6:30, because I've looked at all the other nights of the week, and it's Wednesday night just fits my needs the best. So yep. I talk with my hands too much. And Angie, I'm sorry I missed you and Kristen with the live listing, but I was really, really busy. And by the time I turned around from my bench and got on the computer, you guys were already done. Yeah, Brett, you know, every once in a while I have to catch myself and force myself not to treat it like a social media platform. Because on these social media platforms, there are people out there I don't want to socialize with. So I don't. Now, Poshmark is first and foremost a reseller's platform, or a selling platform, an online for sale, however you want to say it. It's first and foremost a place of business. So when I click on somebody's account and go look at their closet, and I see things that I don't like, it's just pushing buttons. I don't have to interact with those people. You know? Well, thank you, Angie. I appreciate that. Last week, I was able to turn the show on. Now, I have to wear headphones, but at work, I don't have the wireless headphones or the Bluetooth headphones. So I work on the watch for a few minutes, get it to a stopping point, or in the cleaning machine or whatever, and then I can sit down at the computer while it's in the time cleaning machine, and I can interact with you guys a little bit. This week, I never got to a good stopping point. But hopefully, come October the 1st, it'll be a permanent stopping point. I'm going to shut the open to the public shop down and move everything to the house. And I just go once a week or twice a week and pick work up and drop other work off. But I'm going to retire from the public availability. This morning, I walked through the door at 10 a.m. and I swear I didn't get to sit down at my bench until 12:40 something. They ambushed me coming through the door, asking me a million questions. Do you have this? Do you have that? Can you look at this? And it drives me insane. I'm not going to fully retire. I'm just going to move all my watch stuff here to the house as soon as I finish setting it up. I've got until from now till October the 1st to get all my parts, tools, and everything else sorted and set up. And I'll work from the house, but there's a lot of stuff I'm just not going to work on anymore. I'm going to stick pretty much to my bread and butter, and that's going to be antique, vintage, and luxury watches. Nothing else. Not going to be taking links out of anything or putting batteries in other things, and just Mary, that's a very good point. Um, I've been a gemstone miner all my life since 1974. And before social media came along, the only way for me to move the gemstones that I prospected and mined for was to go to the big rock gem and mineral shows. And the buyers there would pay pennies on the dollar for what you got. As soon as social media came along and I built up a following on there, um, I became one of the, I did very, very well selling raw gemstones online. Where, because it put my audience was my buyers. And uh, I could sell direct to the public. I didn't have to go through a buyer or sell to a dealer. Yeah, even before MySpace, I was on a few. Before they had these big social media platforms, a lot of people had little small private websites where they would set up message boards. Anybody remember those? But that's where I actually got my start, was on the rock gem and mineral message boards, primarily. Oh Lord, what was the name of it? One of the editors for Rock and Gem magazine set up a message board, and as far as I know, it's still there. But you just go in and you'd leave a comment, and it may be, or make a post, and it might be 2 or 3 days before you got any kind of interaction with that posting. Yeah, that was the greatest accomplishment of social media, was the ability to block somebody. With one exception, I had something weird happen on Instagram this past week. I had a kid follow me, and his name was a racial slur. So I tried to block him, but every time I'd click on anything, I couldn't pull it up. But he was still listed as one of my followers. So eventually it dawned on me, hey, I can just go to my list of followers, see if I can remove him from there. And I was able to do so from there. Thank goodness. I tried to report the account because he had a lot of, well, some very bad stuff he was posting. And quite honestly, he looked like one of the kids I had an altercation with back in January in my local area. So, oh boy. If you guys are wondering what all that crinkling is, my big ass roll of craft paper that I use for packing paper for crush, I've got a couple of sheets of it down here on the floor. Unfinished concrete or uncovered concrete, if it's cold and you put hot air around it, the moisture will condense out of the air and settle on the concrete. It's called sweating. The concrete sweats, but the moisture doesn't actually come up from out of the concrete. It condenses out of the air onto it. It's like the fog on your windows. So with big heater behind me and little one under the desk, it's a lot of hot air right here where I'm sitting, and I don't like walking around, rolling around in a puddle of water. You know, YouTube here is really a social media platform also. And, before the internet, before YouTube and social media and all of this stuff, if you wanted to learn something, you had to go to the library and hope they had the correct book. You also had to know how to use the Dewey Decimal System. I think I went to my local library a couple of years back, and they had a desk there, and I went to the front desk. Excuse me. And I asked them where the card catalog was at, and they just looked at me kind of weird. I'm like, where I go through and look for the book that I need. They're like, oh, just tell us what book you need. They go look it up on the computer. Yeah, a little bit there, Angie. With shop mats. Oh, probably. As long as it wasn't the mats that had all the little holes in them. Yeah, I know how to drive a standard too. Hell, I know how to change the clutch out on a standard. In fact, I need to put new brakes on my truck this week, which probably won't get done because tomorrow I'm going to do one of my least favorite things, and that's go to the dentist. I have a root canal that was started by the United States Navy back in the spring of 1990. And I was just getting ready to leave that command to go to my next one. So they put a temporary cap on it. Guess what's still on it? Yeah, Brett, I used to read every day. I was a voracious reader. The little thin dime novels, we used to call them, the thin ones, I could read 2 or 3 of them in a day. The bigger novels, I'd read about 2 to 3 of them a week, but I was constantly reading. And since getting older, these things drive me nuts to try to read a book because the peripherals are not in focus. They're kind of distorted a little bit. And it gives me a headache to read. But there's nothing that beats the smell of cracking open a book. You'll never get that smell from a tablet or a computer or a screen. Variety Flipper, you made it. Awesome. Oh, I can't imagine doing legal research manually. Good Lord, that must have been something else. What if you didn't have case files at hand? How would you get those? How would you even know they existed? New book smell, old bookstores, hell, even Amazon in its early days. And who remembers Books A Million? There was one other. What was the mall bookstore before Books A Million? It was a little small one. Yeah, you know what? Doing things the hard manual way will always instill more knowledge. Yes, Walden books, that was it. But doing things the manual way with your actual hands in person will always instill more knowledge, skill, and experience than looking at a screen. As much information as we all share with each other, nothing beats hands on. Never will. Walden Books back in the day had a book club, book of the month club, or something like that. But I had my original membership card for well over a decade. Matt, I used to sell the Magic the Gathering cards when they very first came out. The black borders, I think we called them back then. That was back during the big baseball strike. Baseball cards tanked, and my business partner at the time, I was a coin and jewelry seller, and he was a baseball card seller. And so he got off into the Magic the Gathering cards, and Pokemon was not around yet. So we did Magic the Gathering cards, and we did hockey cards. Oh yeah, if I run across a reference book, especially if it's got anything to do with watches or rocks or gems or minerals, I'm snagging it. That's all that's left of my library. At one time, I used to tell people I have a larger library than most small towns. Now, when I was in junior high, was when uh, Dungeons and Dragons first came out, and me and two or three friends we would play a little bit during recess or whatever. We'd go off to our side and roll our dice and make our little character sheets up. But it was a passing fad for me. I was never big into video games. The last video game I played was the original Zelda game, which is Link the Legend of Zelda, I think, on the NES. That was the one and only game I played on that. Before that, it was the Atari 2600, and I played the old standards. I played Asteroids, Defender, and Pitfall, and Pac-Man. That was it. Yeah. Um, Quite honestly, a lot of times you still need to go to the old plat maps. Believe it or not, miners use plat maps and topographical maps. We have to go to the county courthouse where our mine is at. Your mining claim is not official until you go and record it with the county courthouse. And you have to go look through the plat maps and show them precisely where it's at. And until you register your claim with them and show them and locate it with them, your claim is not yet legal. Yeah, I remember the fish machines. Big gray box with the little slide thing. I remember the smell from the old copying machines, the old manual crank ones. It was when I was in I don't know, fourth or fifth grade. I used to volunteer to go do the copying because I love the smell of the ink. Yep, the purple ink. Yeah, here on my own property, I for 3 years I had a horrible, I mean horrible neighbor. And the property line between us was grown up bushes, a little bit of fence here, a little bit of fence there, but it was not a proper fence. And the property owner over there refused to help us. Uh, anyway, long story short, she finally moved out, and the house is to this day vacant. And I, I, I didn't bother going and asking the guy permission or anything. I just started cutting all that brush out, and I had to do the. She found us one time. We were out on the street, We found one of the property line markers. Well, shortly after we found it, she sent one of her people, put it nicely, out and pulled it out of the ground. What she didn't know is there was three more in a line right behind it. Anyway, we started cutting the brush down. The property owner shows up. I go over to talk to him. He throws a fit. I just shrug and tell him I'm building my fence. Well, you owe me. I'm like, I don't owe you anything. I said, if you really want to make a big deal about this, let's go to court, because I've already got multiple attempts by the police to contact you. I've got multiple personal accounts on trying to contact you. You refuse contact. I have a right to build my fence. But I did have to go and look at the plat maps and to get the general area, because I had to actually dig in the ground and look for the pins, and I found them. Oh, she was terrible. She had 3 kids, or so we thought, till the day the cops showed up to take them away from her. Ended up she had 5 kids in that house, and there were 2 there that we had never seen. She parked a bunch of junk vehicles that were not registered in front of my house, and one of them all the way up against the mailbox, so I couldn't get my mail. And we had to wait a full 28 days by law before we could file a complaint. So cops show up, tell her to move her cars. Well, she was just going to play musical chairs and just swap them around. Well, as soon as she moved one, we put our vehicles in front of my house on the street. And that night, she had to have crawled on her belly to do it, because I got cameras all over the front of my house. And she did about $3,000 worth of damage to my truck. Cops refused to do anything about it. Moral of the story is, ladies and gentlemen, when you think you found the perfect house, go knock on the neighbors' doors and meet them before you sign on the dotted line. Whew. That's not a bad idea, Variety Flipper. I need to do the same thing. I got paid for a eBay layaway since we've been on live. Well, let's check in on the eBay and see if anything is moving. Nope. I got 2 packages going out in the morning so far. Hopefully some more will come in over the night. Yeah, you need to meet your neighbors before you buy the house. Trust me, that's a mistake I will never make again. But I'm an old country boy. Where I'm from, your nearest neighbor was most likely half a mile away. Or you had at least a couple of acres between you. Sleep with the fishes. Boy, my allergies have just been kicking my butt this week. Last couple of days, anyway. You'd think with all this cold weather, there wouldn't be anything in the air to trigger allergies. No, I didn't, Ping. You're talking about the sold and shipped? Did you post that here in the chat? I will look. Let's see. Where's Ping? Yeah, the Ditto machine. Oh yeah, I know how to get my active listings in chronological order. Uh, they screwed that up too, and it took me a little bit, but I figured that out, and I've got it back in chronological order. But my sold and shipped items, I can look it up by this week, this month, last month, and so on and so forth. But I can't put it back in chronological order like it was before the last update. I don't know why they think that was an update. That was a downgrade, in my opinion. Now, sometimes these people doing these updates, I think they come up with crap to do just to justify getting a paycheck. And that's how we end up with buggy crap that don't work. If they were really good at their job, they'd have upgrades instead of updates. And people wouldn't be able to not pay for 4 days and then not pay anyway. Yeah, my solds are not. Let me. I'll pull this up. I'll share my screen and I'll show you what I'm talking about. There we go. So I'll come up here to orders, and it doesn't matter if I hit all orders or what, but paid and shipped is what I'm concerned with. And instead of it being in chronological order from the latest sale back, or the newest sale second to the newest, in chronological order, the newest one first, I can't do that. It'll say, now it just does it by periods. So there's the paid and shipped and all that stuff. But I can go by last 90 days. I can go by today, yesterday, this week, last week, this month, last month, this year, last year. And I have yet to figure out how to use the custom part of it. But I cannot put it in chronological order from newest to oldest like it was before, except I just saw this over here. Date sold. I tell you what, that was not there last time I was looking for this. Let's see if it pulls it up. Nope. Yep. Nope. That's oldest to newest. It's showing me the oldest ones first. Now what? Let's see. There's got to be a way. Like on your active listings, there's a way to reverse it. Yeah, I know about that mess. Huh. Click on that and see what it does. By God, there it is. I figured it out. Cool. Now I wonder if it'll stay that way or if I got to do this every single time. Now I can keep track of things that don't get delivered before they become a problem. They used to have a thing that would show you whether or not it's been, yeah, it does now, delivered. Cool. And why I had to go through all of that for the last 2 months is beyond me. It's something they should have not messed with. It didn't need to be messed with. Now let's see if it comes back up the way I left it. Yes, cool. It's going to stay that way. Yeah, Matt, I saw that, and I probably do it that way too. They changed the look of it. I told you guys, I'm not very savvy when it comes to computers. Sometimes I just have to click around and click on everything until I find what I'm looking for, and then a lot of times I still don't find it. I can't believe I've missed that little icon to the right. I don't think it was always there. Probably was, and I just didn't see it. Yeah. Oh man, back in those days, if AOL was messed up, you just turned the damn thing off, went outside and found something to do, and come back tomorrow or something. All right, Matt, I redid it the way you said. It's now by date, buyer paid, newest to oldest. Pockets and Stitches. How long have you been here? Did I miss you? If so, I'm sorry, but thank you for being here. Yeah, I can remember hearing, you've got mail. You guys remember not long before AOL went away, they were doing all these silly things to try to keep people. For one thing, you could change the voice that said, you've got mail. So I changed mine to the voice of Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Dude, like you've got freaking mail. I'm sorry I missed you. I usually try to stay on top of that kind of stuff, but I got sidetracked trying to figure something out. Get off my lawn. Where I'm from, we don't call it a lawn, we call it a yard. Get out of my yard, or get off my grass. Scooby snack. Yeah, I wish I had a Scooby snack. Now, when the neighborhood kids are messing around in front of my house, I just walk outside, slam the door behind me, and I just stand there and glare at them. Without these glasses on, man, I'm gonna hold you to that. I've got to hear it now. Oh, well, folks, it is well after 8 o'clock. I think I've bitched and complained about everything reseller wise that I can think of for one night. So I think we're going to call it a night right here. And next week, hopefully, everybody will be jumping for joy at all the great sales we've all had. So between now and then, you guys be fun, be good, have fun, and I'll see you then. Good night, everybody.